All right. We're here to talk about what went down on Monday Night Raw. Welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago, and today we're here to talk about Monday Night Raw after Crown Jewel. The WWE crew is still in Australia, and they woke up mad early, obviously, 8 a.m. in the morning for this shit. Saturday's premium live event saw Stephanie McMahon and Seth Rollins win the Crown Jewel rings. Bronson Reed bested Roman Reigns. Io and Ripley got a win over the Kabuki Warriors, and John Cena beat AJ Styles in their final showdown. So, what followed up? Well, good morning, Rollins. Raw opened with a video recapping what happened at Crown Jewel before Rollins made his way to the ring with the rest of the Vision to celebrate their success at the PLE. See, the Visionary said this night is about him, but he took a moment to acknowledge the greatness of the group he has assembled. He took time to put over each member of the group individually. The Australian crowd gave Bronson Reed a great reaction when Rollins got to him, but the World Heavyweight Champion called him the new Tribal Chief, to a mixed reaction, of course. The Tribal Thief was still going, but now he being the new Tribal Chief. I don't know how I like that. Obviously, Rollins has said he's done everything on his own, which of course was called out for a bullshit chant. I don't have to do it because the crowd did it for me. Thank you, Australia. He claimed he didn't need anyone, but he has chosen to align with the men in the ring because he is a visionary. He is a revolutionary. He is Seth fucking Rollins. Depending on how you read it, this segment might have planted some seeds for Breakker to eventually feud with Rollins over the world title, but this is to foreshadow how Breakker distanced himself. You see, Breakker's kind of off. This was a decent promo, but it was not it was surprising nobody interrupted. That's not a bad thing though. Just an observation. The crowd also chanted that Seth is a wanker, which is funny. B+. I didn't know what the fuck they were chanting in part of it, but I guess Seth is a fucking wanker. Let's get on to our IC title match. Penta took on Dirty Dom. The IC champion, of course, Dirty Dom, defended his title against Penta. But Rusev made it clear to Penta that he had already asked for the next title match to be against whoever wins this one. So Rusev is hot on the IC championship tail. Dirty Dom was alone, with no one else from the Judgment Day by his side. As soon as the bell rang, both men were throwing hands. They traded moves until Penta sent Dom out of the ring with a quick hurricanrana. He also sent Mysterio crashing onto the announce table with a back body drop as the show went to a break. We returned to see Dirty Dom take control and fling the challenger into the ring post before hitting a suicide dive DDT. He almost set Penta over the barricade into a small child, but they managed to avoid it. Thank God. They fought through another commercial break, and they came back to see Penta dive off the ring post to take Mysterio down at ringside. This match took for fucking ever. Like, you could go do so. You could go use the bathroom or make some dinner before you or make some breakfast. Honestly, this is the morning. You could literally go do a couple of things, and this match would still be going on. This was a fun match, though, with some standout spots. Seeing Dom stand on his own, 2 feet, without the Judgment Day, was a nice change of pace. Because, of course, maybe they want to turn Dom into a babyface, or they want to keep this charade of dominant going. Penta is one of those performers who brings out the best in his opponents, and he made Mysterio look great. So, how did we end this? Well, Rusev showed up, of course. But Penta took him out with a dive with the top rope. This gave Dom a chance to go over to one of his belts, grab the timekeeper's bell hammer, and while the referee took the belt, Dominic used the hammer behind his back to nail Penta in the knee, hit a 619 with the hammer stuffed in his boot, and a frog splash for the win, which got a huge pop from the crowd because a lot of people love Dominic, internationally speaking. Another B+ grading, which of course is good. Rusev is also not bad on the mic, but having a manager might might be beneficial to him, which I agree. But who would be that manager? You know, like, you could do so many different things, you know. Obviously, Rusev's presentation when he first started as, like, the Bulgarian Brew, of course, was great because he had a female counterpart to, you know, be that manager. Now he doesn't have that, you know. Somebody like a woman manager would not be bad for him. Maybe bring his wife back could be something in the works, or something creative, but maybe not. The crowd booed Penta when he went for the Three Amigos and then cheered when Dom reversed it. So you clearly know where people stand on which side. Rhea Ripley took on Ripley-Sane. After a backstage segment, which saw Asuka slap the fuck out of Ripley-Sane. Stop slapping Kairi, guys. Like, can we stop slapping Kairi here, please? She's innocent. Sort of. She's the reason they lost fucking Crown Jewel, so let's just move on from this, okay? So, the pirate Disney princess was in action against, of course, well, her, Ripley. Sane ducked a lock up and hit a forearm to the back, but Ripley brushed it off. She tried to counter Kairi, but ended up taking a slap to the face. Again, a slap. Jesus fucking Christ. The Eradicator got angry and leveled her with a clothesline. What is with women slapping each other in the face? It's just fucking insane. Sane got the upper hand for a moment, but Ripley hit her with a knee that turned things around. Sky and Asuka ended up brawling, but the Genius of the Sky was taken out by the combined efforts of Asuka and Sane as the show went on. And commercial. This was a good match, but it was hampered by the shenanigans at ringside. Ripley and Sane have had some great encounters in the past, but this fell a little short of what we know they can do. The second half was much better than the first, because both women brought more physicality to their offense. This is another match that went on for God knows how long, and I think, was it 2 commercial breaks? Or maybe, yeah, 2 commercial breaks it went through. Again. So how did it end? Well, Sky prevented Asuka from interfering, and Ripley was allowed to hit the Riptide for the victory. Asuka then attacked Sky after the match, but Ripley took her down with a kick. They cleared off the announce table, and as Ripley was going to set up for something, Zayn saved Asuka by taking a kendo stick and hitting Ripley fucking in the back with it. Asuka, of course, would hit a DDT on Ripley, and that would end the segment. So, I don't know what we're doing with that, but whatever. Also, Ripley-Sane's entrance wasn't televised, but they gave her back her theme song. Apparently. Bronson Reed took on Jimmy Uso in what was a mid-card match that I did not really care about. So, Reed, all you got to know is that Reed dominated. This was much of a squash. Pretty simple match. Wasn't bad. Breaker showed up, speared Jimmy twice after the match. Jay ran in, made a save. Typical stuff. C+. Moving on. I think some more typical stuff here, but this one was pretty bit more interesting. The team of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria took on Roxanne Perez and, of course, Raquel Rodriguez. See, Valkyria told Bayley that teaming with her against the Judgment Day this week was just one-time thing because she can't depend on the role model to be consistent. Valkyria found herself being double-teamed. So Bayley tagged in and helped her turn the tides in their favor. The babyfaces had control more often than the heels in this match, but the Judgment Day started building some momentum after Perez hit Bayley with a Hurricanrana from the top rope. Lyra had to slap some fucking common sense into Bayley at one point, which gave her enough, what do you want to call it? Her other personality came out. She took out both opponents with a suicide dive, brought Perez in the ring, hit her with, I think, a Bayley to belly, and then hit her with a rose plant to seal the deal. This was a solid match, but it's hard to tell what WWE wants to do with Bayley's character. It doesn't feel like any of this was planned with long-term goals in mind, so they really need to kind of think about what they're going to do next. Graded a B-. That grade sticking, and practically all the grades we've seen so far have been pretty, what I think. But we get to our main event, which saw Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk duke it out for a number 1 contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. That will be taking place in Salt Lake City, Utah, Saturday night main event. After a quick segment to set up Valkyria and Perez for a feud, we got to Jay's entrance for the main event. He faced Knight and Punk in a triple threat number 1 contenders match to see who gets to fight Rollins next. There was no alliances in this match. All 3 men were brawling as soon as the referee rang the bell. The crowd was cheering for all 3, but it felt like Punk had more of the noise behind him than either of his opponents. Even before they started the match, the crowd was still singing CM Punk's theme song. Anyway, Knight came close to winning when he hit Punk with a BFT, but Uso pulled him out of the ring. When Jay tried to hit a splash, Punk got his knees up to counter, and then hit a GTS for the win. As Punk was celebrating, Rollins' music hit and he came out with the Vision. And Braun Breaker ran out like the dog he is and speared the fuck out of Jay. And then as you thought he was going to get in the ring for Punk, he saw Knight. And then he speared Knight. As Reed, Rollins, and of course Breaker hopped up on the apron and went after Punk, they took him out. They, of course, Seth Rollins told Breaker to get Punk out of the fucking ring. And the Vision are standing tall as the show concludes. But it was Breaker who shocked everybody, because Breaker took out Rollins with a hellacious spear. Heyman was fucking shocked. But he was even more surprised when he told Bronson Reed that are you with me or are you against me? And Reed decided to say fuck it. And he took a tsunami and did it to the world champion. Breaker basically forced Heyman to join him or suffer the consequences, and the show ended with the three of them standing tall over Rollins. So, why did this happen? Why did the Vision break up? Or, well, not really a breakup. Why did Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker betray Rollins? It wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. Let me explain. News reports have all came out, and this is why I wanted to wait, and this is why I always wait until the next day to give my thoughts. I want everybody to kind of like rapidly go on fucking the internet and think they know everything. See, the thing about this is that this wasn't supposed to happen, technically. Braun Breaker was never supposed to really turn on Rollins. That was supposed to be until next year, when Rollins lost the title at WrestleMania to Sami Zayn, which is still the original plan. But we could be changing plans because, unfortunately, as PW Insider has reported and Fightful Select is reporting, that Seth Rollins is legitimately injured. Supposedly, he should be injured. But if he is, I hope Rollins gets a speedy recovery and is most likely to drop the title to Punk at Saturday Night Main Event or be off of TV for a while as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed move forward as a stable themselves with Heyman, being too scared to go back to Rollins. So, Rollins could be injured with a shoulder injury. Of course, his arm was in a sleeve as a fan took a picture and saw him with that. Of course, this arm or this shoulder injury could be due from, of course, or it could be due to the fact that Rollins hit a suicide headbutt or coast-to-coast headbutt, which, of course, hurt his arm. That's the spot in which he probably hurt his arm. And you could see after Raw, he was being carried out, by medical. So, the whole reason Braun Breaker does the heel turn here, or does the turn on Rollins here, is because Rollins is injured. And he's probably... Now, I've heard also a couple things about this probably being a ruse, right? Obviously, they're taking Rollins out to kind of fuck with Punk's head, kind of like, okay, so when we get to Saturday Main Event, you think Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are going to turn on Rollins, or go after Rollins, or go after the both of them. Honestly, they might as well go with the both of them. No, they're going to realign with Rollins, and they're going to go right after Punk. Which, I mean, is stupid, because why the fuck did we even do that? Just a tease? Just a tease of what we're actually going to get? No. Rollins is going to remember that. Rollins is 100% going to remember that spear and the tsunami. He's going to remember that. And then he's going to also remember Heyman sticking by. So, if this is the end of the Vision, well, okay, sure, I guess. I mean, Seth Rollins did sound like his old babyface self at the top of the hour, when he mentioned that he's the revolutionary, he's the visionary, he is the fucking, you know what I mean? So, again, wasn't supposed to happen, was supposed to happen last year, or next year. Rollins is reported to be injured, and this is why this happened. For that alone, I think the grade should be changed to a B+. That's just my opinion. So this should be changed to a B+. So what is the final word? Well, Monday's Raw was a standard PLE Fallout episode, which isn't a bad thing. It accomplished everything it needed to do and gave us a couple of fun matches along the way. Rollins has cemented himself as the top dog on Raw and seems to have everything he could ever have, which means his eventual downfall is going to be even bigger. Ripley-Sane had an entertaining fight. The main event was enjoyable, but the best thing on the show was Penta and Dom for the IC title. This match demonstrated just how far Dirty Dom has come since joining the WWE. He has fully grown into a great performer and a man who has the crowd behind him despite being a heel. Now, Survivor Series is over a month away, November 29th, so WWE is wise to take its time setting everything up to avoid spinning its wheels and waiting for the event, which of course could lead us to Dominic versus John Cena for the IC title. Ending the show with Breakker turning on Rollins was a great decision, as it will be the most talked about moment. We all know it would have happened eventually, but this is still shocking. It's always good when pro wrestling can surprise us. Grade this a B, and I think it's a B as well. Overall, it's a B. Go check out the main event. Go check out, of course, this match. This demonstrates how international these guys can be. Of course, listen to what Rollins says at the top of the hour. But that is Raw in its entirety. I mean, the Australian crowd brought the fire and the passion they needed to for this Raw, and it was there. It was fucking there, and you could tell. I believe we're back in the States. I'll have to look up. I'll have to find out what's going on with SmackDown, but I think we're back in the States on SmackDown this week. But a lot of things go on in SmackDown. So now we move on to set up for Saturday Night Main Event, and of course, Survivor Series, War Games in San Diego. I can't wait for that. So, if you guys could do me a favor, if you like seeing content like this, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment down below, and turn on those post notifications. You don't ever want to miss a stream of this. You don't ever want to miss this, you know? This is some good shit. I will see you guys on Saturday. Lewis will see you guys on Friday. And we'll be here next week for the Raw review. Peace.